My name is Juliana McQuarrie, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on Angela Davis. Now let's get started. Angela Davis was born on January 26, 1944 in Birmingham, Alabama. Angela was exposed to both racism and activism at an early age. Birmingham was one of the most racially segregated cities in the country. Angela's neighborhood was nicknamed Dynamite Hill because the Ku Klux Klan often attacked the homes of black residents with bombs. As a teenager, Davis organized interracial study groups, which were broken up by the police. As she got older, she still wanted to fight racism for African Americans and women's rights. She emerged as the leader of the Communist Party USA in the 1960s because the Communist Party was welcoming to women and focused on aiding capitalism. She also had close ties to the Black Panther Party. Angela Davis is a major figure in the prison abolition movement. She has called the United States prison system the prison industrial complex and was one of the founders of Critical Resistance, a national grassroots organization dedicated to building a movement to abolish the prison system. She established the Committees for Correspondence of Democracy and Socialism. She is most famous for her involvement with the Soledad brothers, who were accused of killing a prison guard during George Jackson's trial in August 1970. An escape was made at gunpoint and several people were killed. Davis was accused of taking part in the event and was charged with murder. She was on the run for 2 months before apprehended in New York City. Thousands of activists around the world organized in her defense and demanded her release. After being incarcerated for 16 months, Davis was tried on June 4, 1972. She was found not guilty by an all-white jury. Now here is a video of an interview of Angela Davis talking about the prison system.
But over the last few years, there has come into being another kind of political prison. And I'm talking about all of the sisters and brothers who are victims of the system, who are easy targets of the police, who get railroaded through the courts into prison, often for no reason at all, who are there only because they're black. And I think a brother during the Attica Rebellion sort of expressed this whole thing when he was asked by a reporter what he was charged with. And he said he was charged with being black. That's why he was there. And coupled with the oppression that leads black people and brown people, people of color, into the jails and prisons of this country, has been a new kind of political awareness that has spread all over the jails and prisons throughout the country. When George Jackson, and Fleeta Drumgo, and John Cluchet, and Ruchell McGee, I could go on and on to name the sisters and brothers who have achieved a political awareness and a political commitment behind the walls. But you see, once they do this, then they are subjected to all of the terror that the prison system has to offer. And so they end up spending years and years and years in prison under the worst of circumstances.
Today, Angela Davis is 79 years old and is a distinguished professor emerita in the History of Consciousness and Feminist Studies Department at the University of California. During this project, I felt empowered as an African American and as a young woman. This project taught me very important things about Angela Davis, things I didn't even know happened during that time. It showed me how the government treated African American women that wanted to make a change. It also showed me how the police system was against her because she was a powerful African American woman. Now here is one more interview about how Angela Davis wanted to make a change for African Americans.
See, that's another thing. When you talk about a revolution, most people think violence, without realizing that the real content of any kind of revolutionary thrust lies in the principles and the goals that you're striving for, not in the way you reach them. On the other hand, because of the way this society is organized because of the violence that exists on the surface everywhere. You have to expect that there are going to be such explosions. You have to expect things like that as reactions. If you are a black person and live in the black community all your life and walk out on the street every day seeing white policemen surrounding you, when I was living in Los Angeles, for instance, long before the situation in LA ever occurred, I was constantly stopped. No, the police didn't know who I was, but I was a black woman, and I had a natural, and they, I suppose, thought that I might be a, quote, militant. And when you live under a situation like that constantly, and then you ask me, you know, whether I approve of violence. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense at all.